Global supervolcano eruptions inevitable as scientists warn over catastrophic events. There's at least 21 known supervolcanoes across the world. The world's supervolcanoes have been dormant for thousands of years, a point which unsettles many researchers examining what happens between supervolcanoes. Supervolcanoes can be found all around the world, sometimes perched atop crowded cities. Almost all of them are waiting to blow their lids and cover vast swaths of land in ash, lava, and molten rock. To be a supervolcano, a volcano must have at one point in history had an eruption with a volcanic explosivity index VEI of 8, the largest recorded value on the index. Some supervolcanoes are the world's most famous volcanoes, like the likes of Yellowstone in the US, or Long Valley Caldera in California, Lake Toba in Indonesia, the subjects of countless documentaries and films. And while we know supervolcanoes will erupt, little serious work has gone into monitoring them and figuring out what to do in the event of such a super eruption, with a team of geologists previously warning that ensuing chaos has largely been ignored. Supervolcanoes often erupt several times with tens of thousands of years lapsing between each event. The last eruption coming at New Zealand's Taupo volcano was 27,000 years ago. That was almost an extinction level event, and I did post a video on this, and the anthropologists believe that there was only 1,000 human couples left worldwide after that to repopulate our Earth. Now, the problem, according to Professor Martin Danisic from the John de Later Center based in Curtin University, is that little is known about what happens at the supervolcanoes during the intervals. In writing a paper published in the science journal Nature in 2021, he noted that gaining an understanding of those lengthy dormant periods will determine what we look for in a young active supervolcanoes to help us predict future eruptions. And he says super eruptions are among the most catastrophic events in Earth's history, venting tremendous amounts of magma almost instantaneously. They can impact global climate to the point of tipping the Earth into a volcanic winter, which is an abnormally cold period that may result in widespread famine and population disruption. Learning how supervolcanoes work is important for understanding the future threat of an inevitable super eruption, which happens about every 17,000 years. So we're overdue. Yet while scientists know a lot about the world's supervolcanoes, few, if any of them, are regularly monitoring and examining them. Professor Christopher Kilburn, volcanologist at University College London, UCL, previously said that it was a myth that the world's supervolcanoes were being watched by the appropriate authorities. And wrongly, he says, supervolcanoes are of such a size that it is near impossible to prepare against their eventual eruptions. It's impossible. So when hazards like these things become so huge, you really can't prepare very much, he said. We see with very large earthquakes, the best you can do is try to build buildings that are unlikely to fall, but for the rest, what can you do? And he said, you just have to hope to God that when the earthquake strikes, they stay up. But of course, we see around the world where buildings do inevitably collapse after regular earthquakes, but there are very few contingency plans for that. There are just emergency measures to help people. In the paper, Professor Danisic and his team investigated the magma left behind after Lake Toba's super eruption, a whopping 75,000 years ago. Using various data and modeling, they showed that magma continued to ooze out of the caldera, a large dip in the ground created by the eruption, for between 5,000 to 13,000 years after the eruption. So that's a huge amount of time, obviously. The leftover magma was then pushed down upwards into the sky like a giant shell. The findings, the team said, challenge existing knowledge and studying of eruptions. The scientists must now consider that eruptions can occur even if no liquid magma is found underneath a volcano. The concept of what is eruptible needs to be reevaluated, he said. And this is by Joel Day on Express UK. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. My Patreon account The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.